From the Fans Talk Podcast family at fanstalkpodcast.com, this is episode 40 of Fans Talk Lucha Underground. We got Cage versus Mundo in a cage. And that was for the Gift of the Gods, one of the ancient medallions for the Gift of the Gods tournament. And then we also got a new Trios champion. My name is Garvin, and this week's episode, we're going to recap and react to Lucha Underground Season 2, Episode 14. So, let's just get right into it. Got my little notebook here. Let's see what we can come up with. We started off on commentary. They basically gave us an update on what's happening with Matanza and Mill, specifically their condition. Both seem to be relatively okay. Not going to be in the temple this evening. However, will be returning to action very soon. The first match, and this was a very action-packed episode. We got two matches, really only one segment, and that was at the very end. The first match was Cage versus Johnny Mundo in a cage for one of the ancient medallions, the ancient Aztec medallions. This was exactly what you were expecting, what I was expecting, as far as just the brutality of the cage, brutality of the feud that Johnny Mundo and Cage have put each other through over the last few months. So basically, it was pretty great. We saw Taya get involved, and it was pretty much what you would have expected as far as her trying to ensure that Cage stays inside of the cage. We saw a really cool spot with Taya flying off of the top of the cell, or the top of the cage, flying crossbody onto the man they call Cage. Very, very cool spot. Again, this is one of the things that you don't often see in women's wrestling, but we are seeing it as far as Taya getting involved in that kind of capacity. I thought was very cool. The match ended. And I want to say this match probably went about 7 to 10 minutes. The rest of the event went to the Trios Championship match. But we saw Cage basically end the match with a sit-down package pile driver type move onto a chair. Taya was handcuffed. There were handcuffs that Taya had brought in to use on Cage to ensure that he could not stop Mundo from leaving, but he was able to turn the tables on them and handcuffed Taya to the ropes to be able to hit this move. So overall, great match. Hopefully now we will see movement for Mundo in a different direction. Obviously he's out of this tournament now, so not sure where that will take him next, but Cage is going to be in the finals match to determine who the next Gift of the Gods champion is, which is pretty cool. I'm looking forward to see what happens with Cage, if he can really do something more and better than he has before, as far as titles, as far as direction for his character. So I'm really looking forward to that. And ultimately, if he were to win that title, then that would put him in line for a title shot for the Lucha Underground Championship. So overall, I think this was a great move. It's strange how they build Johnny Mundo up as this guy who believes he is the face of the company, who is basically cream of the crop type of guy, but when he gets the opportunity to move in a position to really get up to that level, he fails. which I'm okay with because I'm not a huge fan of Johnny Mundo. But we did see some cool parkour type stuff as Mundo trying to evade Cage off the ropes, off the cage. It was pretty cool to see. So, but our main event, the Trios Championship Tournament Finals. It was booked as Puma, Mysterio, and Azteca Jr. Dragon Azteca Jr. versus Cisco and Cortez and Ryan versus Jack Evans, Phoenix, and PJ Black, and the reigning champions Ivelisse and Helico and Son of Havoc. Now, I try to avoid Lucha Underground talk throughout the week on the internet just because most of the sites that I read are talking about tapings, not necessarily what is happening on TV. So I try to avoid that. But the news did come out that Angelico was hurt in some capacity during these tapings, and apparently it happened prior to this particular show. So I haven't really done any research. I really haven't looked to see what the extent of that injury is. But Angelico is out. Angelico and right before the match, Cueto came down, interrupted the introductions to make the announcement that Angelico was hurt. He was rushed to the hospital, but despite that, Ivelisse and Son of Havoc were still going to defend the titles in this match. It's just that they were going to be doing it by themselves rather than having the full trios team with them. Rest of the booking, generally speaking, made sense. I think overall, one of the aspects of lucha libre that we've expected here in the States, based on what we've seen, whether it's guys like Psychosis and Rey Mysterio Jr. in WCW, Eddie Guerrero, Chavo Guerrero, seeing that in the 90s and 2000s, so many flips, so many of that type of thing. And Lucha Underground, while it has contained that, it doesn't depend on it. A lot of different styles, a lot of different ways to take your opponent down and to take those risks. But if you wanted flips, if you wanted those suicide dives, you got them in this match. Pretty much every single wrestler in this had some kind of spot like that. So it was really cool to see just the amount of chaos that type of action sees. So the match, basically it was an elimination match, kind of tornado style, where you had each team represented in the ring at one time, and chaotic, fantastic. Those are all words that can describe this match. But the first elimination occurred. Cisco, I think, was on the outside at the time. Cortez had just taken out Ivelisse, and that was shortly after Joey Ryan, escaped the ring. Didn't want anything to do with Ivelisse because she was definitely on the offense with him. So he escapes the ring, tags in Cortez. Cortez was able to get over on her, and then there was an argument. Joey Ryan wanted to make the pin. Cortez wanted to make the pin, so they had their little dispute in the corner, and Ivelisse was able to take advantage of that by rolling up Cortez, little small package for the win. So that team was eliminated. That was the first elimination. Ivelisse got a lot of offense in this match. We really didn't see a whole lot of Son of Havoc outside of his normal routine. But for all intents and purposes, the one that was really doing a majority of the work for that team was Ivelisse, and she looked great. But she was pinned. She was pinned after hitting Jack Evans with her sunset flip powerbomb, or pile driver. I can't remember how commentary explains it, but it's that Petey Williams Canadian destroyer type move. So she hits that on Jack Evans. PJ Black makes the save with a thrust super kick style kick, and Jack Evans makes the pin, makes the cover. So team fight eliminated. So then we just had PJ Black PJ Black, Jack Evans, Phoenix versus Dragon Azteca, Puma, and Rey Mysterio Jr. And this is exactly where I thought this was going to go. I don't know if I necessarily expected Phoenix, Jack Evans, and PJ Black to be the final team to go up against them, but with Angelico gone, it totally made sense to go in that direction. This was a very, very, very good sequence of moves and reversals and offense from both of these two teams. But in the end, the team that survived and the team that are now your trios champions are Prince Puma, Rey Mysterio Jr., and Dragon Azteca Jr. So we had talked about how somewhat disappointing Dragon Azteca Jr. has been since coming in. He's not the high impact guy that I think we were all expecting. I was expecting for sure. But this match changed that. This match, he really got involved, really showed some skill, really showed some good stuff. So, overall, looking at the way the trios tournament has gone, looking at that division, I am excited. I am excited to see what Prince Puma, Rey Mysterio, and Dragon Azteca Jr. can do. I think they, as champions, while Angelico recovers from his injury, I think we could see some really good stuff. But that was pretty much the entire event. We closed off with a segment where Pentagon Jr.'s master calls him to come into their little dojo. Pentagon Jr. in a wheelchair, one of those little motorized wheelchairs to, really illustrate that his back has been broken, that he is hurt. He slowly comes in, and his master tells him to stand up. Pentagon Jr. tries, fails. Master pulls off the hood, really shows that it's Vampiro back in that role, and again tells him to stand up. Pentagon Jr. can't, so Vampiro takes this black candle and dumps the hot wax all over Pentagon Jr. You hear Pentagon Jr. Scream in pain as it's happening, and again he tells him to stand up. Pentagon Jr. tries, fails, but this time falls face first into the ground, and Vampiro calls him weak. Says that he is weak, and it should be really interesting to see how this plays out. Only because obviously Vampiro is still playing both sides of the fence. He's on commentary. He's still playing this role as the master, so it should be interesting to see how this plays out on screen. At the same time, showing Pentagon Jr., trying to fight through that pain to not only please his master, but get back into, a position where he can wrestle again and fulfill, their overall destiny and whatnot. I think it's really cool. So, that was the event. There really wasn't a whole lot to it other than those two matches. The trios tournament went, I think, through like 3 different commercial breaks. So I want to say it was probably closer to the 25-minute to 30-minute, time frame. So that was a majority of the show. Should say, before we go into wins and fails of the week, let's remind you that This episode of Fans Talk Lucha has been brought to you by the great members of our community, the Squared Circle of Trust. They get together each month to pledge from $1 to $5 a month, just to help us, cover costs. And in return, outside of the two series that we're actively still doing, as far as Fans Talk Pro Wrestling, as well as this Fans Talk Lucha, we're also giving them early access to the content, so they usually get it a day before everyone else does. So if you're getting this particular episode Saturday night or Sunday, you could have got it a day earlier, because that's just what happens. That's what we try to do. So Fans Talk Pro Wrestling, we release to the Squared Circle of Trust on Tuesdays, Tuesday night, shortly after we conclude recording, and then we release that to everyone on Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday evening. So again, squaredcircleoftrust.com. You can pledge as much as you want, but at least $1 a month. That'll give you early access to our episodes. If you pledge $3 a month or more, you not only get access to the live recording, because we record all of these episodes live, so you can join us in the live chat, and that also gives you access to our Slack community, which is a little chat room organized in different categories, so we can talk about the week in WWE or TNA, NXT, Lucha Underground, as well as some random conversations as well. It's a lot of fun. We also do a live chat for pay-per-views, so if you're watching this on Sunday and you want to get involved, WWE Payback, we're going to be doing a live chat for that as well. So should be great. Cannot wait to get into the Slack chat with you guys to watch Payback together with our friends. So squaredcircleoftrust.com. Go there now. Pledge as much as you feel is appropriate. And let's do this together. Wins of the week. Obviously, we got great action in the ring. We got great action to really be stoked about and happy about, and movement for Cage, movement for the new trios champions, as far as Puma, Azteca Jr., and Rey Mysterio Jr. But one thing that I've noted, and it was more of a mental note that I kind of just put out there, because I was unsure what commentary was doing and what role commentary had. Specifically like what they know and what they don't know. And, it's become more and more obvious that they don't necessarily know what we know by watching like these backstage segments and these video packages and whatnot. And it was noted during the trios match, the conversation of where is Bale? Bale was the third member of the crew, killed by Matanza early in I guess it was closer to the end of season 1. And yeah, just an interesting note that they had this really short conversation about where is Bale, and not thinking anything of it, because people come in and out of the temple all the time, so they just assume he's somewhere around, and we may see him again. So I thought it was just really interesting, really nice touch with the overall story that's being told. So definitely like that. My fails of the week, obviously, I think the only negative thing that happened in this episode was just the missingness of Angelico. Angelico not being in that match, I think, did take a little bit away. I think he would have added some really great spots. Him not being able to defend the titles, I think, was a negative. But they recovered. They did pretty well. Ivelisse and Son of Havoc did defend the titles very appropriately and very strongly. So, but that would be my fail, was just the fact that he's hurt And again, I haven't read anything into it. I don't know, how long he's going to be out, so hopefully not too long. But that's it. This series, as well as the rest of the podcast released through fanstalkpodcast.com, are supported exclusively by you, our Patreon subscribers. And you can subscribe today for as little as $1 a month to receive early access to content just like this, as well as get your ears on some exclusive stuff that we do throughout the month. SquaredCircleOfTrust.com. You can also reach it by going to Fans Talk Lucha and clicking the big green button right at the top. And yeah, that's it. We will see you next week. Adios.